I was like, yep, yeah, we're right. But I was feeling a certain way about it, and she was like, just hold on to it a little bit. Just let it ruminate in your mind. And I was like, okay, Mom. And I'm glad very good idea to listen to your mom, because now it's here, right, instead of in a trash can somewhere. But yeah, the work takes a while, depending on how much detail I want. If I really want to chock it full a lot of detail, like that one, for instance, took a minute. Unlike the pen and ink ones, because it's charcoal, it wasn't as labor intensive on my hand. But it took a while with that jacket. So
it's a minute.
Oh gosh, it takes. For instance, that one took me about a week, I think. Yeah, about a week. Yeah. And that was one of the easy, quick ones. There was a couple like that one I think took me a little longer because the hair almost destroyed my self-esteem. Yeah, it was definitely like different things, different experiences, depending on the piece. It's not really one way of making it. So.
What else?
It's not. It's also not very graspable, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I still don't understand that at all. I mean, going back to the question of the big break, I'm gonna get intimate. So I was. It's good that those pieces were 2009 because this is where it starts. I started doing this very specific style around 2009. I was titillating with it before around 2004 onwards, but it really became my language in 2009. And I remember talking to my mom saying, should I go to grad school? Should I do this? She's like, well, you have to do what you need to do. And so I just thought, all right, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna apply to graduate school and hope that someone will accept me. If not, I'll become a lawyer and just give it up. And very fortunately for me, I applied to California College of the Arts as one of the schools, and they accepted me with a full scholarship, which was like the only way I could go to graduate school because it's a pretty expensive school. So I ended up going to that, and it was in San Francisco, and I was there for my first year, and Indianapolis Thomas, who's represented by Jack Shaman, came around, and I really wanted to meet him, and he's kind of the reason I went to CCA. I applied to CCA. So, student visits are hard to come by in grad school. They only have a short slot, and I didn't get a slot. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna be like a hustler in Times Square. I'm gonna like come at him right after a lecture, be like, hey. I mean, let's talk. 5 minutes, your time, 5 minutes. Which is really what I did. Actually, I came out like, come on, 5 minutes, man. Come on. And of course, he looked at me like a crazy person and went, no. And literally walked away. He was like, sorry, gotta go. And I was really quite worried that I would never have that opportunity to kind of properly talk to him again. And very fortunate for me, he felt kind of bad and kind of figured she can't be that crazy. So he came in the next day, and one of my classmates was talking to him, I think, in the grad office or something. And he's like, there's this girl that kind of cornered me yesterday. She was kind of scary, and I don't know, is there a studio around? I feel bad, I want to talk to her. And very fortunate, whoever, I think it was my friend Bruna, it was like, yeah, her studio's like right there. And he went in and he saw my work, and he saw something. He was blown away, he says, and he sent it to Jack Shaman, which I was coming from Alabama. I didn't know anything about Jack Shaman and how amazing his gallery was, and all the people who I admire, who he represents. I was just thinking, this is someone I admire who's Nicholas Thomas, and I would love to hear his input on my work and what that means. And fast forward like a few months or a month or so later, Jack Shaman was like, we want to do a solo show with you. And it was just one of those things that I had to keep mad quiet, especially in the competitive atmosphere in this graduate school, where you're just kind of like on the slide, like, Toy, you're spending a lot of time in the studio. Oh yeah, just some stuff we gotta do, just finals, it's intense, and it was very quiet, and that was MAPS. That was the MAP show in 2011, and that just put me in the map, I guess, literally in the map. And I've just been very fortunate ever since. But I did not think that was gonna happen at all. I think what I remember telling you guys was like, is that the real thing? You can really make it work and show it to people, and they come to see it. It's great. But I was just happy to be a part of an amazing roster artist. I mean, it's kind of crazy when I wake up every day and go like, I'm a part of that gallery. It's cool. It's a really good community, so it's been great. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Don't be shy.
It's a once in a lifetime, maybe not.
Do you feel like it's hard writing that line between illustration and fine art, or trying to find the balance? I look around at all these figures and I think of illustrative things like comic books and stuff like that, and how expressive and how just kind of bold those things are. And then I look at your portraiture and it's rather reserved. Do you feel like you kind of tone it down maybe? Like, where if you were going in an illustrative route, you would have went in a different direction with these, or do you feel like it's wide open?
Right, it's a very good question, because that's one of like sort of the foundations of art education, is that restriction is good, because when you restrict things, you're much more expansive in how you play with the limited materials you have access to. It's what art is based on, right? When you have a limited amount or periphery, you're much more imaginative in how you create what you're creating. Graphic design, graphic arts, illustration, it's interesting to me because they have so much access to it now. I mean, if you look at a lot of what you see in comic books, they have access to like Photoshop and like Illustrator and different types of tools, but they still create evocative work, I think. And the mark making in the line, I mean, part of what my education was looking at artists like Takiko Inoue, who did the Vagabond series. And the line work in that was just so incredible and so detailed, and you really could not tell that was a comic. It was so much more than that. It went beyond the medium. And so for me, that was my access point to say, like, it doesn't matter. It could be a comic book or it could be in the fine art realm. You can still make something that is very powerful and, in my opinion, transcends the field that it's in. So when I'm thinking about when I'm making my work, I am thinking restriction, because that's part of the art education I have, and sort of a subdued means of expression. And my imagination goes beyond that in terms of the skin. That's where I go wild, and the graphic comic influence comes in. But in terms of, for instance, the poses or the expressions that they're making, it's very much influenced by my fine art education, sort of like a more muted stoicism. I think that's something that appeals to me, especially now. I don't know if it's gonna last. I mean, I took a photo of my baby brother smiling the other day, and I was like, I can draw that. I like that. It's a very wide tooth smile, and it's something you really see. Even for me, I always used to find it kind of cheesy to draw people smiling, but it's a nice smile. I really want to draw it. So. It's really, this has been going on for a minute, so I don't know, I might just kind of move away from that, too. So, that was a really good question.
Thank you, everybody.